Many of us never know where this journey will take us. We come to find out that there are two truths. One, you're gonna make mistakes. And two, every upgrade you do is gonna lead you to 10 more that you have to do behind it.
Seriously, this needed a dramatic beginning. Let's go ahead and roll the intro. Man, that was a fun intro to make. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had fun making it. I might be doing it again sometime. What's going on, everybody? It's Ryan with Tundra4x4.club. As always, if this is your first time here, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Truth be told, I have no idea how long this is going to take. There might be multiple settings that we continue on this topic. So if I'm in different places or changing clothes or doing whatever, it's because there's a lot of things to cover. It should be noted the first right out of the gate, I'm not being paid to say any of this. This is all based on my opinion. In my opinion alone, I've had vast experience in upper control arms, and I'm going to give you pretty much the good, bad, and ugly of all of it. And hopefully that'll help you along the way if this is something that you're looking at upgrading in the near future. Before we get started, if this is your first time here, please go down, hit subscribe, hit that bell icon so you know every single time we do a video. If you like this material and like what this video had to offer, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. As always, I enjoy all your comments down below, good, bad, ugly. I try to learn from all of it. So let's dive in. All right, upper control arms. By the way, what I'm doing right now is I'm on my way to a storage facility to drop off some boxes, kind of cleaning out the garage, getting ready for a big move. So that's the reason for this long road trip right now, and if there's random boxes everywhere, that's why. So let me take you back. After I installed the Bilstein suspension system, I started looking for what's going to be the weakest link in the suspension for off-road and trying to make the suspension as durable as possible. I started looking into upper control arms and something that's, just a little beefier, made for off-road, plus giving me maybe some added caster was something I was looking into. What I did, I went and bought some 1.5 tubular Camberg upper control arms. Slapped those on the truck, and during the install process, and you can go back and watch some of the older videos, during the install process, man, I heard every excuse in the book. Hey, you gotta cut your tie bars, or now you have 6 degrees of caster in your control arms, we can't align it properly. And I went to multiple shops, and it was dollar after dollar after dollar just being flushed down the drain. While I was at the first alignment shop, when I first had these installed, they were having some problems getting it aligned properly. So I did what any good consumer would do, is I said, you know what? Let me give Camberg a call. And I never tried to call him before. So I dialed the main number to Camberg, and lo and behold, a human being answers the phone. Not a robot, not a machine, not somebody trying to tell me to explain my problem to a computer. No, human being. It was rad. That's something you just don't see nowadays. So right off the bat, I was like, all right, cool. I like the customer service. They stayed on the phone with me, and keep in mind, this was like a Friday late afternoon. They stayed on the phone with me, and even we're talking with the tech that was doing the alignment for my control arms to make sure I was aligned properly. Well, I left out of there, and they said, look, we can't get this thing aligned right. My toe was off. The camber was a little off, and the caster was, what they thought was completely maxed out, and there's nothing more that they could do. So I'm like, all right, you know what I'm gonna do? Just like going to a doctor, let's get a second opinion. So I went to another alignment shop, and I said, hey, look, here's the deal. This is what I'm doing. They're like, yeah, no problem. We do lifted trucks all the time. We'll get you aligned right. The problem, again, came up that, hey, we can't do this without cutting your tie rods. And that was the thing before. The tech, after I got off the phone with Camberg, was like, yeah, we got to cut your tie rods like, I don't know, like a half an inch or whatever in order to get it aligned right. And I'm like, ooh, I don't like that. So when I went for the second opinion, the guy says, yeah, we need to cut your tie rods in order to get it aligned right. So I'm like, I guess that's what I gotta do. I gotta cut my tie rods. So I had them cut the tie rods. I know. You don't even have to say it down below. Totally get it. So I had them cut the tie rods. I'm all excited. Again, this is ironically on another Friday, getting ready to go out on another off-roading trip that weekend. They cut the tie rods and say that I'm aligned properly. So I'm like, all right, cool. I spent the next couple of months off-roading, going on road trips. I went to Tundras to Sedona, and from here it was like a 6-hour car ride, towing the trailer. Everything is okay. Did some Big Bear trips. One day I'm out washing the truck from one of my trips. I look at my tire wear and I see that the inner portion of my tire was completely, I'm gonna say half what the outer portion was. And I'm like, this doesn't seem good. Also, when I was going about 45, 50 miles an hour, I had a shake, a shimmy in the steering wheel. I let go of the steering wheel and be like, "Ducka, ducka, 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 ducka." Yeah, that was ducka, 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 if you didn't catch that. Little concerning. And I'm like, what the heck? So I go to yet another alignment shop just to be like, hey, am I in spec? Am I out of spec? Obviously my caster is going to be out of spec because that's what I'm intentionally bringing to the table. And so they're like, yeah, you're completely out of whack. Your toe's this way, whatever. I'm like, cool. Well, can you align it? Sure, we can align it. Nope. Bottom line is, wasted some more time and some more money. Actually, on this one, they were kind enough to be like, look, we said we could, but we couldn't, so we're not going to charge you for it. All right, no big deal. Let's change settings for a little bit because I'm getting a little bit bored and I'm getting a little bit parched. So let's just change settings for a little bit and we'll continue to go over this. I'll be back. All right, so one of the things that's really important for me to bring up is that I did go through all the forums. I did see everybody's comments about what they were having issues with the alignment and stuff like that for the upper control arms for Camberg. I brought it up to Camberg's attention. It's something that one of the things that, and it's fair, is there weren't a lot of people calling Camberg to say that, hey, we're having issues with our alignment. So if you are, and I know many of you are, having issues with the alignment, I challenge you, give them a call, let them know what's going on, and see if it's something that they can help you with over the phone with a tech, unless you're doing the work yourself, and give them a fair shake at that. But I will tell you, they will pick up the phone. They will guide you through it. So something important to think about. I'm thinking to myself, all right, I'm going through the forums, and as you know, if you're having this issue, and probably if you're watching this video, you've had these same issues, and you're trying to think of a solution, and it's not everybody. Don't get me wrong, it's not everybody. So I'm trying to do some research, and I thought, throughout this process, I've literally called Camberg maybe 4 times and said, hey, I'm at an alignment shop, can you help me out? And every single time, hands down, the person's like, yeah, absolutely. As long as it took, they were talking to the tech on the best that they could with tech support over the phone on a mechanical issue. It's kind of hard to solve, but neither here nor there. So I'm still out of whack. My tires are now wearing down. Let's go ahead and give Camberg another call and say, hey, what is the deal? So I call up Camberg again. They answer the phone and they come up with a pretty fair solution. Now they're located in Huntington Beach, if you're not aware, in Southern California. I'm in Southern California. So they say, can you bring your truck in? Because we're concerned about the performance that I was getting. They were truly concerned about the performance I was getting out of these upper control arms, and they want to stand behind their product 100%. So they asked, bring it up to us if you have the opportunity. So I go ahead and take a day off work and drive up to Huntington Beach and go to Camberg early in the morning. Now, here's where things come into play. All right, they spent the entire day dissecting, looking at the control arms. They showed me the factory where they build the control arms, everything that goes into the precision manufacturing of the control arms. And we're going to get into the conclusion of that story here in just a second. But before I get into how that all kind of came about and where I'm at now, my research led me to doing a whole bunch of online and calling different techs about upper control arms, and thus how I've created this video today is just by my trial and error, my failures that I hope I can help you out with. Touching base on the upper control arms, this is a very, very important fact. Certain manufacturers, believe it or not, are making upper control arms, okay, that they have a tubular design, they look cool on a truck, however, they are stock parameters, stock settings. They just kind of look cooler, I guess. So if that's something you're in for, you know, go ahead and go that route. However, I was trying to get optimal performance. And with optimal performance, that means trying to get as much caster in the vehicle as possible, because the upper control arm in itself, some of you might know this, so just bear with me. For those that don't, the upper control arms itself is to help you with your alignment and to add caster to your rig. Now, adding caster is going to give you increased performance off-road. There's a ton of videos on it. You should go and research all of that stuff on what caster does and the geometry that goes into it. But it's pretty rad, and that's something that you want. You want to get as max caster as possible to get the best performance out of your suspension, and also to align your toe and your camber. Your toe should always be in spec, and then if your camber, if you want to do whatever you want to do with that, that's up to you. Those control arms that you're looking at, you really need to dive into the parameters that they're getting. Before buying your upper control arms, please make sure you are going out and figuring out what it is that you want to get out of your truck. If you're looking for just a look, that's fine. You know, more power to you. But there's a lot of people, and I'm not going to name bash or manufacturer bash at all, but there are a lot of companies out there that are making control arms that are just your stock settings. Now, if you're doing something with a, you know, maybe a 2.5 inch lift on your Tundra or a 3-inch lift, you might be able to get away with that just fine, because you don't need an added caster. Because just to quickly touch base, you know, you lift your truck, right, and your suspension settings kind of pushes your caster the wrong way. So you need that control arm to kind of rock it back. And again, please go on and do your own research, but you want to rock it back to make sure that you can align that vehicle properly. Getting back to the Canberg story. All right, so I go up to Canberg, drop it off early in the morning. So they have my truck. They are pretty much all hands on deck looking at the problem. They're lifting it up, they're looking at it, they're seeing what happens if I lift it more. You know, kind of baffled by the situation of, hey, I'm not getting aligned properly. So after looking at it, they decide to take it over to their alignment part, their alignment area, to make sure that their alignment pro guy can look at this situation and say, yeah, this is alignable or not. If he can't align it, then there's definitely an issue. We got to figure it out. So keep in mind, it's probably the most professional alignment guy, in my opinion, just watching him work, because he doesn't rely on the machine. He's actually doing it like old school with a bubble. It was pretty rad. They allowed me to be there the entire time, kind of see what was going on. So he looks at it, he's like, look, after several hours, he's like, I can't get this fixed. I cannot align this. We don't know what's going on. But let's dig in and find out if there's something more than maybe the control arm, right? And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, they're gonna make up an excuse. This is internally. They're gonna make up an excuse on why their upper control arms aren't working for me. And I was fully prepared for that. So they lift up the truck, they're looking at the wear and tear, they're looking at the frame, and I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, they're gonna say that I have a bent frame and this is just gonna be a nightmare, and you know, I just want it to be simple. Never is. So they come to realize, like, okay, frame looks in good shape. There is some wear and tear on the underneath that you can see, obviously, because we off-road this thing pretty hard. But nothing that just jumps out to be a problem. I talked further with Canberg, and they're on the phone. They're calling Toyota. This is as far as they went. They're calling Toyota to figure out where my truck was manufactured, what day it was manufactured, and if there's been any other problems with framing. Because at the end of the day, you have a machine putting together your truck for the most part and some hands-on labor. Minor tweaks can happen with different products and production line. I've heard about this for years. They always say, hey, find out when your car was made. Make sure that you don't buy a car that was ever made on a Friday. And I think for all of us, we know why. Because on Friday we are checked out and we're just not gonna do our best work. I don't know. So Camberg's there calling Toyota. They're talking with me about all the different things that are going on and what could be the underlying problem. But the bottom line is, it's not working. Now, prior to me actually setting up this appointment, I went up to Big Bear with Tundra 452. By the way, if you guys aren't checking him out on Instagram, you should. Unbelievable photos and a super sweet Tundra at that. Make sure you're checking out Tundra 452 on Instagram. When you're done with this video, you can check him out. We come to realize that there is some kind of tweak, all right, on the truck itself that's causing this issue. And I know that there's gonna be a lot of people saying, hey, yeah, that's, waving a flag saying, BS, that doesn't happen. Well, you don't know what I went through, and I promise you that I'm only delivering you the truth and everything that happened. They took off the control arms to make sure they were completely in spec, and it almost showed me how it would be just about impossible to get it out of spec before selling them. So anyway, so I was on this trip, and while I'm discussing my issues with Tundra 452 and kind of thinking about different options, the kinetic upper control arms with the Heim joint kind of came into play, because I'm thinking to myself, all right, what do I do? Do I go with a completely different manufacturer? Maybe go to like that stock, because with stock upper control arms, this truck was aligned properly, but aftermarket control arms, they weren't. So Heim joint upper control arms, if you don't know what they are, they pretty much have a piece that is adjustable on each side. So you can customize your upper control arm. You're gonna get your max caster and be able to align your vehicle correctly and make these adjustments as you wish, along with having a sturdy billet upper control arm. I just want you to know that for all intents and purposes, Camberg conducted a pretty much full day's labor on this truck, just diagnosing what could be the problem. And ultimately, it came down to them saying, look, we want to make sure we stand 100% behind our product. We don't know what the problem is, but they didn't charge me. Okay, and hopefully they don't get mad at me for saying this, but they did a full inspection and they did not charge me. I was fully expecting a $500 bill just in diagnostics, especially when it came to looking at those control arms, matching them up to the thousands of others that they've sold and haven't had any problems with. But they didn't charge me for it. But so they send me out the door and say, hey, look, this is, obviously an issue. What do you want to do? And I said, look, would an option of doing a upper control arm, a billet upper control arm with the Heim joints, the kinetic, actually wearing the hat right now, kinetic. So with that upper control arm, would that fix my issue? And we all kind of came to the conclusion roundtable, they're like, yeah, that probably would. So now I'm thinking to myself, all right, these are they're just shy of double the cost. I'm 4-5 alignments deep in costs. This has been nothing but a nightmare, plus the wear on my tires that I got having them on. So, I'm just, baffled at this point. But Camberg worked with me. Camberg said, look, not a problem. What we're gonna do, although I've had these for several months, they returned my control arms, the original control arms, gave me credit towards the new upper control arms. So, to me, I thought that that was a fair business deal. I thought that they automatically went above and beyond, truth be told, to actually diagnose my problem with this truck and the alignment issues and the upper control arms I only crossed my fingers that when it was all said and done, I didn't still have these issues after doing the install. But let's get these boxes unloaded. We'll get back on the road and we'll continue down memory lane here to see if I can help you out with your purchase of upper control arms. All right, so that part is done. Let's get back on the road so I can finish this long story. All right, so we're back on the road and let's finish up with what we were talking about here. So pretty sure I left off with, you know, Camberg kind of setting up, you know, hey, we'll bring back your old arms and we'll give you credit towards the new arms. So they didn't have any in stock at the time, so I ordered them and set up yet another appointment with Camberg. I didn't want them just shipped to me and have somebody else install it. I figured, you know what, I'm gonna have Camberg do the entire thing, right? And I'm gonna cross my fingers that this is resolved. So the parts came in, I set up the time, shot up to Camberg, and dropped my truck off in the morning, and just kind of really stressed about it all day long, thinking if this doesn't fix it, I have no idea what's going to. Maybe it's just something that I'm gonna have to live with, I don't know. Kind of cost of doing business and doing upgrades. So Camberg gets done, lets me know that it's done. I go and pick it up, and I don't even know what the end result is by this point, except for I'm really nervous. So I go and pick it up, and I talk to the alignment guy. He says, hey, you're good to go. Not only that, but you have now, I used to have 6 degrees of caster on the old arms that was even causing problems with like rubbing in certain areas, but that's a horse of a different color. But now I have 8.1 degrees of caster with these new arms. 0 rubbing issues, 0 clearance issues, and he says everything else is 100% into spec. I'm excited yet skeptical. And you know, going out of Orange County, for those that don't know, they're not from the area, it's no fun sitting in Orange County traffic. It really isn't. It sucks. There's nothing good about it. You get on the 91 and you can just go ahead and call it a snooze fest, watch some Netflix, whatever. Don't really do that. That's dangerous. But you know, it's a parking lot. So I leave Camberg and I'm going through the, you know, the industrial area, and I automatically feel a difference. 1, there's no shimmy or shake. 2, the truck feels properly aligned. And then I get on the freeway before traffic. I feel like I'm driving a brand new truck. No kidding, brand new truck. At that point in time, I was the most excited guy to be stuck in traffic. I felt like I had a brand new vehicle, drove it all the way back. It was about a 3.5-hour car ride, and I enjoyed every second of it. So then it came down to, what is she gonna do off-road? I'm gonna tell you all the way around the performance from having the billet arms, the kinetic arms with the Heim joints, night and day difference. To the point where I was almost feeling bad about the first video that I did about the upper control arms, just because it was such a big difference to me. So this is now going on probably around 4 months, and I will tell you that it has been awesome. I've had 0 issues with my truck. It handles great. The alignment is on. Off-roading is awesome. So that brings me down to kind of the concluding factor of this whole video, which is why Camberg? Why, you know, do you choose that manufacturer versus another? What manufacturer would you choose? And I will tell you that Camberg by far has gained a customer for life. And I'm going to go into, you know, the details. We touched base on them, but Camberg not only answers the phone when you call, they genuinely care about what you're calling about. You don't feel like you're being blown off. And I think that's a huge thing. I think it's rare, but I think it's huge. 2, for them to spend that amount of time on, you know, they had no idea about, you know, this channel or the videos or anything like that I would be coming out with. They did it out of pride for their product. And there's something to be said about that. I don't know what kind of manufacturer you want to go with. I don't know what your upgrading needs are going to be in the future, but Camberg does a whole array of suspension work. You know, they build trophy trucks, so they know what they're doing. Everybody I encountered over at the Camberg store was fantastic. Smiles on their faces. They care about their job, they care about their product. You know, as I said, I challenge you to give them a call. See if they answer the phone. Talk to them about your problems. Give them a call and tell them about all the good stuff that you like that they're putting out. They have an array of products coming out for the Tundra I'm excited about, but as far as the company is concerned, you cannot go wrong with somebody who stands behind their product the way Camberg does. And I know I'm on a soapbox here, and I know everybody has their choice and their brand and the reasons why, and that's fine. I'm not trying to take away from anybody else. And like I said, this is not about bashing any other manufacturer or installer or fabricator, whatever you want to call it. I'm telling you from my experience, Camberg did so much for me that they have rightfully gained me as a customer for life. My future products, my future installs, if I can swing it, it's a long drive for me, but if I can swing it, I would much rather have them do all the work. So Camberg, if you ever get a chance to watch this video, I just want to say thank you. It was a fantastic experience, and 100% I agree, you guys stand behind your product and you're about that customer service. Touching base on what I'm seeing on the forums, guys, girls, I encourage you, contact Camberg. Give them that shot to walk you through some solutions and see what it's like to actually call a place and speak to somebody right there at the shop. And it's not some clerk. Like these are techs. These are co-owners that will answer the phone. They care about their product that much that they're going to answer that phone. You're going to talk to a live person. Before you go out and buy an upper control arm, know that I've been through a lot when it comes through the UCAs for the Tundra. If you have questions, please put them down below. I'll be sure to try to get to all of them and get you answers to the best of my ability. Again, this is all my opinion, but I have gone through a lot, and at the end of the day, I'm 100% satisfied. Yes, the kinetic arms are way more expensive, almost double the price, but I will tell you, it made that much more of a difference. So know before you go out there and buy your upper control arms, like, are you going to get one of those that have just stock settings on them, or are you looking for something to get more performance out of it? But that's going to do it for today's video. Like I said, please subscribe if you guys liked what you heard and what you saw in this video. Let me know about upcoming things you would like to see. There has been some requests sent to me on more viewer spotlights, so if you're interested in having your rig spotlighted on this channel, reach out to me. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, Tundra4x4.club. Don't forget to check out Tundra 452. Until next time, we'll catch you all on the back roads.